Hello everybody, Andy here again. Right, down on the beach today, doing a particular vlog. I thought I'd go for a little wander on the beach while the weather wasn't too bad, and I'm going to do this particular vlog for someone called Petunia Bell 650, who's over there in Tennessee. And she said, I like your beach vlogs, go and do some more please. So I don't think you can see, they've got some fishing boats here. This particular beach is only about a mile or so from where I live, a place I like to come down to quite a lot if I can. But the weather's been pretty damn awful over here in the UK fairly recently, as I'm sure you're aware of. But I'm going to do this as I'm going along. I'm going to walk along the seafront. The tide's actually going out at the moment, so hopefully you'll be able to hear the sound effects, and I won't get my feet too wet. But as I said, I was talking about the weather, and the weather, as I've mentioned, has been pretty damn awful here in the UK. It's fairly breezy down here on the seafront today, so if the wind keeps cutting my voice out, you know what that's all about. But we've had storms after storms, we've had floods from everywhere, and once again one of those things that gets me thinking, are we taking too much of a liberty with Mother Nature? We've traditionally built sort of cities on rivers or by the sea for very good reasons, because of trade routes, etc. From years gone by, we needed to trade and we used ships to do so. A lot of the great cities of the world, London, New York, places like that are on rivers. Other places like sort of San Francisco or whatever are built by the sea. But now that's not such a great place to be. One of the problems with building by rivers is that we obstruct the natural floodplains, and I think people years ago used to realise that and used to recognise that sort of thing. After all, in the UK certainly, we have what were called meadows, which are right next to the rivers, and they were used as sort of natural flooding places, so that when the rivers flooded, the water used to go into the meadows and soak through and drain away, and it had somewhere to go. Well, now we keep building, yeah, that was close, we keep building actually in right on the meadows nowadays, so the water's got nowhere to go. We tarmac over complete parts of the countryside, whether it be for housing, car parking, even our driveways. We used to just had nice grass or something, but now we're tarmacking over that as well. And it's having the same effect. The water's got nowhere to go. It has to run off somewhere. And where does it run off to? Well, it all sort of just builds up and up and up. And before you know it, you get the floods that we've had over here in the UK. And as I said, we're not treating Mother Nature with the respect I think it deserves. One thing we have to bear in mind is that we might be able to tame Mother Nature to a degree, but we will never beat Mother Nature, and I think that's something that we've taken for granted, and maybe we're getting our arses kicked a little bit recently. But as I said, we've had sort of several wake-up calls I think recently. Certainly the last week or so in parts of the UK where I live was actually alright, which I suppose is very good for me but not for a lot of other people. So hundreds of thousands of people have been affected by the floods, and it's reduced that part of Britain to what can only be classed, without sounding horrible, as a third world country. The power's gone out, there's no drinking water, everything's sort of gone, apart from the obvious damage to the houses and things like that. And obviously you had something similar with Hurricane Katrina over in New Orleans a few years ago. I know you can't stop hurricanes, but the main reason you had the problems in New Orleans was because the levees broke, and once again it reduced that part of the world to little more than a third world country as well, without sounding nasty about it. It's a reality, and it's a wake-up call, and I think we need to think about these sort of things. With the climate changing, whether you believe it's anything to do with us or not, and I think personally that we've got a lot to do with it, but even if the climate is changing, and I think most people agree that it is, these things are happening more and more frequently. You've always had floods. We've had floods here in the UK, but not as much and not as badly as we get them now. One of the reasons is because of the way that we plan things and the way that we build things, and I think we need a radical rethinking of all these policies. Once again, it's not going to be something that's very popular, and that's one of the problems, but I think we've had a wake-up call, and in this country, in other countries, as I said over there in America, in Europe they got these dreadful forest fires because of the heat and the dryness, droughts in Australia, right across the board. And I just watched recently on the internet, there was a bit about a film that's coming out very shortly about London being flooded. If I can find it, I'll put the picture in around about now. Well, as you can see, if you did see that picture, gives you some idea of what it might be like. And this isn't sort of science fiction. This isn't. It is scaremongering to a degree, but it's something that can happen. I mean, Hurricane Katrina was possibly a worst case scenario in some ways, and that particular picture you saw there is a worst case scenario, but something similar did actually happen in the east coast of Britain in the 1950s. All the tides, etc., a storm, everything all matched, and you had the sort of perfect storm type of situation. And something very similar happened then, which is one of the reasons the Thames Barrier was built. And this particular film is talking about if the Thames Barrier is breached, and you can see the amount of damage that it would do. Not very good at all, is it? So we need to have a rethink, I think. So I don't know what your thoughts are on this sort of thing. Do you think we're taking liberties with Mother Nature? As I said, I do, but that's just my humble opinion. So let's let me know what you think, videos, whatever. I'm just hoping that New York will be safe next week. This time next week I should be in New York. We don't want any hurricanes coming that way, because I've heard that's one thing they are worried about up there. Don't usually get hurricanes in that part of the world, but we've all seen the film, I've forgotten what it's called now, but the one Day After Tomorrow, that's it. Hopefully nothing like that's going to happen while I'm there. But you never know. I can tell you stories about places that I've been and things go wrong in. But anyway, that's for another video. Thanks for your time. I'll speak to you again soon. And thanks very much to Petunia Bell 650 for inspiring the beach walk. Anyway, thanks very much. Goodbye.